Happy New Year and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal. Normally I'm joined today by, as every week, I'm joined by my lovely and amazing and talented wife, Tiffany. Actually, last week she was unavailable to do the show, and so we tried to do an episode of Off the Rack from the studio and solo. Didn't work out. And I have a good reason for that. The main reason, and the only reason, is that the internet conked out for about 300 houses in the surrounding area at the halfway point, so we couldn't talk about the biggest books from that week. And I was so disappointed with how it turned out, and the fact that, like, we promoted an episode as it was happening that never actually resulted in anything that we promoted. We could have put out that episode, and in fact, if you still have the old unlisted link, you can find it, but we never actually talked about Absolute Batman meeting Absolute Wonder Woman, or Spider-Man, or anything like that. So I thought that episode is kind of a loss. I, however, did keep all those super chats, so I am going to be able to address any and all super chats that were made on that episode. And yeah, so that's a good way to remind people that this show and any live show that we do here on ComicPop Returns is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can help this show out by using super chats. You can ask a question or comment in those super chats, and we will read it here on the show and be part of the show forever. So it's not just like a one-way street, folks. You share your opinion, I will read it here on the show. Everybody wins. And if you don't see a value in that, no sweat, no offense taken, obviously. Feel free to simply enjoy the show as it is. There is no barrier to entry, so you can just check it out. But yeah, so normally what the show is we talk about some news, then we review books that came out in the past week, and then we check our book of the week, which is what is the most exemplary comic from the smattering of titles that we read, and then we recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. I'm very excited. As far as news goes, there is actually a lot of news. I wanted to share a lot of it with Tiffany, so I'm going to save some of them because I think they're a little bit more evergreen than something I need to capitalize on. I also want to address at the top of the hour that I did promote this episode as our recap, our kind of like best of 2025 episode. You can't have that without her, so we're not going to do that. But we will do it soon. So hang in there. We are going to do our best of. It's just going to take some time. And by time, I mean like a few days to a week. You're not going to be waiting a month for this episode. It's happening. We also have categories. We got all kinds of stuff. I have a list of every book that I've read this year or this past year. And so I have gone through them and I've picked out I've cherry-picked some examples of things that I think were just dynamite, lowercase d, not including the publisher Dynamite, and some of them that didn't work out, that I might want to point out. Who knows? But I am excited because Tiffany, it's funny, I was actually having a meeting today, and I don't want to get into the behind-the-scenes stuff. That is reserved for a special podcast called The Red Raider Show, which is actually on patreon.com/compop. It's a monthly show where I do something more similar to this than I care to admit, where it's like a stream of conscious rambling session where I give you behind-the-scenes insight into what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and how ComicPop runs, because as much as I rely entirely on the talent and the dedication and the humor and wit of Tiffany, Ethan, and Ben, everything else is me. Editing, publishing, thumbnails. It's all just me trying to get this thing to wherever it needs to go. Just schlepping this jalopy across the finish line, so to speak. But I digress. So that's over there, and if you want to check that out, you can. But otherwise, I had a meeting today, just a quick like get to know you, how do you do kind of meeting, and in it we were talking about books that we're reading and books that were great or not so great in 2025. And going over the list, I was like, Tiffany reads a lot of books, and all of them are really good. You know, there are some books where she's read a lot of comics, and the ones that she like kind of didn't do or didn't continue are not nearly as great as the ones that she stuck with. So hang in there, because it's going to be great to hear her opinions. And maybe, if she's not watching or listening, we're going to keep this between us, okay? So you, me, and the lamppost. Don't tell nobody. I'm arranging to have a creator that she likes come on the show so she can talk to them. If you know, you know. I will say, it's not the Black Panther writer. But we'll get into that later on. So yeah, and by later on, I mean later on, in the lifespan of the show. So yeah, I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I know the thumbnail looks pretty much the same. I actually did just update it because I realized, oh my God, I actually did read Ultimate Endgame #1, and that is the most recent book to talk about. So I will talk about that towards the end of the show. Obviously that's how it goes. But rather than jump into like some kind of news topics, this is an opportunity, a golden opportunity for me to share something with you guys that I am so deeply proud of and have been hoarding like a dragon on top of a giant pile of gold for years now. And it's something that I've teased or referenced multiple times. And it's a gift that Tiffany gave me, I want to say for Christmas, and was, because I want to say that because it's true, that she got me, and it was something that I thought I'd never see again. And I'm still right, but I've seen things similar to that. But here it is. So, and I'm only able to do this because normally it's up on a wall in my house. So there's so many different ways of removing it, Normally we do the show at the ComicPop studio, which is constantly in flux. It's a very frustrating situation. There's the other day I stopped in during the holiday. We have buckets all over the studio to just pour from the open wounds of our roof. And it ain't my roof. I don't own that roof. I just pay a substantial fee to keep my things underneath it. And Ethan and Ben actually helped me. They did it themselves. They hooked up these like water catchers. So they funnel water from the never-ending leaks into a bucket. So I got there the other day. Bucket. It's a Home Depot bucket. Big orange bucket. About this big. Filled to the brim. It had overflowed. That's how much water had come in over like the 3-day span that I wasn't in the studio. So I had to clean up that and empty the buckets and everything like that. So, we're just, but normally you don't see that stuff. And fortunately, we didn't record or do anything during those storms because lately it was just, you could hear it. It sounded like someone was, like a giant was urinating, like not 6 feet away. But yeah, normally you'll see the show shot there. It's actually not leaking right now, so I'm happy to report. But since the studio is where we record off the rack and live, I don't have any access to this piece of art. And then even then, when we're shooting the show here, in the very rare instances when we're making the show from the home office, and you can see this is where I edit back issues and also like where I check my email and stuff. Like this is in my house. But never would I be able to reach over and get it. But we changed some of the things around the house, and I happen to have it. It's actually right here, within arm's reach. This is my Batman Spider-Man commission from Mark Bagley. So, and as you can see, it's a loving recreation of the first Spider-Man Batman crossover from J.M. DeMatteis and Mark Bagley. These you're seeing right here are Scott Hanna inks, not digital. These are actually hand inked. This is the real page that was fully inked by Scott Hanna. I have the sketches as well. It's in a separate one, but this is hand inked by Scott Hanna. You can see like the cross hatching and everything like that, all that. But isn't this great? Doesn't this make you want another one? And Marvel/DC, if you ever want to do another Spider-Man Batman crossover, I'm more than happy to let you borrow this. So you can scan it and put it into like an omnibus or a variant cover or the main cover. Because I know that the team who made the original cover, one of whom was Scott Hanna, but Bagley drew this and then Hanna inked it. It turns out, actually a funny story about that, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but Scott Hanna was one of the inkers on the Spider-Man Batman crossover from, I want to say, 96. And not the main one. And of course, if you've been familiar with Bagley's work or Scott Hanna's work or the two of them working together over the years, particularly in Ultimate Spider-Man, you might know him to be the only inker on Mark Bagley's work. Not so with Spider-Man Batman. Hanna was teamed with a different inker because he was not quite as well known and wasn't a proven commodity back then. And so Hanna always wanted to prove himself. He always wanted to show, like, I could do that. I could have done it solo. I didn't need another inker. So he gave me a reduced rate, and he did it himself. And he's like, this is amazing. Because, for Bagley, he was like, I'm better than I was. Like, for Bagley, like, seeing this, I have the signed one now. But, like, I showed him this, like, awesome wizard cover, because Bagley, like, almost never drew Hobgoblin. I love this cover, even though, like, that Windows 95 background didn't age well. But I had Bagley sign that, and he's like, I don't want to sign this, man. I don't want to see this. Like, this is me when I didn't know how to draw. And I'm like, how dare you, sir? This is amazing. But knowing that he, like, wants, that he loves how his work is in the present versus the past, he was more than happy to revisit this piece, because it was a shot. It was a chance to, like, see, yeah, I could still do this, and I could do it awesome. So if you look at it, it's just like the old one, all the way down to, like, this being like the moon or the bat signal, which is what it was in the thing. But yeah, so boom, this exists. It's beautiful. I love it. And again, Marvel, if you want, or DC, I'm happy to lend it to you. Because I would also like to see it colored one day, and we've been working on that. I've reached out to a number of colorists, and we'll see. The one I wanted, unfortunately, doesn't exist on this plane of existence anymore. But yeah. Anyway, so that was my news portion of the episode. Now let's talk about some comic books, shall we? But before we do, I want to throw a shout out to those amazing patrons, or not patrons, but patrons lowercase p, but those amazing folks who submitted super chats during the last broadcast that is not available anymore unless you find the unlisted link. So while they won't be on the screen, you will be able to, we're going to acknowledge them right now. Cat Laurel Defend for Treat says, happy 2026. There were so many comics. Still making my way through it. So glad Absolute Martian Manhunter is back. I really want to see John and Diana interact someday. I would like to see that as well. So thank you. Jason Hedelson says, you are all like family at this point. Top 0.1% watcher and Patreon supporter checking in. Damn, thank you, Jason. Really, really appreciate it. It's good to see you again, man. Thank you so much. No Man's Land in 2026. Have a good new year, Sal, Tiff, Ben, and Ethan. Thank you, sir. Yeah, maybe. I got a lot of books that I want to get through in 2026. And I'm happy to say, this is another transition. This is what happens when it's just me. You may remember from 2 years ago, a great artist, Tenchi Arts, did a weekly challenge where he made a recreation of the episode of Back Issues as a really cool art form. It was like a stock image of, like, that he made of the couch, and then the characters that are about that story on the couch. And there's a whole host of them, and he did it for a year. So 52 like weeks of that year, he posted a different image that showcased the characters or the theme of the book that we covered on Back Issues. He's doing it again this year, and I am so excited to see that. I gave him a little heads up about what's happening in the next 2 weeks. I hope he enjoys it. I hope it's a fun challenge for him. I hope you check it out as well. So if you haven't already, you should definitely look up his account. Tenchi Arts, I believe, is where you can find him. But check that out, because that's a really fun kind of phenomena. Hayden Hamilton, thank you very much for your generosity. He says, got Batman and Robin year one, Justice, Alex Ross for Christmas. Gonna get Absolute Manhunter on my own, LOL. On Patreon, do you talk about the equipment you use? Thank you for all the joy you brought me in the hardest year of my life. Well, I'm sorry to hear that it was your hardest year, Hayden. I love seeing your name up there year after year, and I do appreciate you. So I hope that this year is a milestone in terms of success and happiness for you. I don't talk about the equipment, but I'm happy to. Yeah. And the reason why I don't normally name drop it is because I don't have it in front of me. I mean, ironically, I do have it in front of me, but I don't have, like, the serial numbers and modifications. Like, I know that I have, for Off the Rack, normally you'll see, like, that fun microphone with, like, rubber, like, with yellow rubbers. They call it the Worker Bee microphone. It's a condenser mic. It's plugged into a compressor that sucks. It's been great, but it kind of created this, like, hiss. So I replaced it with the same model, and it crapped out. So I had to replace that with the old one. So actually, I still have to get a replacement because I'm right back to the old one. So I don't know if that's necessarily a trustworthy one, but we've got it to a science. So I just took a picture of, like, the settings for that one, ported it over to that one, made it happen. But I don't know anything about. I don't have the name and model for that, but I don't trust it enough for me to recommend it. As far as the cameras go, we shoot on an HCX 1000 for Back Issues, It's a camcorder, basically. It's a digital camcorder that could shoot in 4K, but I choose not to. And I don't think you need to see me in 4K. We've done that before, and it's a disaster. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and I use like I don't know, some kind of a lapel receiver for recording that. Anyway, Gar55 Rocks has been a fan for over 10 years. Holy crap, man. Well, thank you. Rare I get to tune in live, but got to today. Well, sort of. Love listening to you guys every day at work. Thanks, guys, for being amazing. Thank you, Gar55 Rocks 1 Vault. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here, for being a member of the Decade Club. We got to come up with some kind of cool term for people like that, because we've been around for like 12 years or so, and so it's been over 10 years. If you've been watching for over 10 years, we need a nickname for you. Something that means like 10 years, like decade or something like that, but we'll figure it out. It's flexible. Alan Spencer, as a fellow 90s Marvel aficionado, I'm curious to know which of the following 90s Marvel creations you think has the most potential to make a comeback: Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, or Slapstick. I mean, between the three of them, they've all come back. Slapstick was a member of the Initiative during the 50th state thing after Civil War, and he had a major, crucial role to play, and then was never seen again. Sleepwalker had a mini-series, I want to say during like Infinity Wars. Terrible series, didn't do much to service the character. And Darkhawk, I think, is coming back on like a team. He's like on a Guardians team right now. So all those characters have the potential to come back. It's just a question of whether they have strong creators behind them. And between the three of them, Darkhawk is the best looking, but with like the weirdest kind of origins and backstory. I don't love the whole on the same time. As a kid, I didn't love the whole crystal thing, but like now as an adult, I'm like, well, he's basically just a magical girl. So, maybe you could go with that in some way. But yeah, I'm always pushing for Sleepwalker, but not the way that he is right now. I've always been going for Sleepwalker. I have a Sleepwalker action figure, but I don't have a Darkhawk. Which would kind of be your answer to that question. Arduit says, any chance we get Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma ever on back issues? It was maybe my book of the year, at least limited series. Peace and love. Thank you, Arduit. I don't see that happening, only because it's more or less a sequel to the original Resurrection Man, or one of them, and I'd want to do, like what came before it. But then again, there's no way anyone would watch that episode, so I don't think so. But I'd like to. These are all things I want to do. Jacob Montez, I like Solo Sal episodes. It reminds me of the morning show used to do. Also, I saw Ghostmaker and Clown Hunter trade at Barnes & Noble. I thought, but why? Agreed. I think most people probably. The reason why I saw it is because most people see that and go, what is this? Some kind of a Fortnite tie-in? Is this a Destiny tie-in? Like, what garbage is that? I also love that Ben called him Clown Killer on the show, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter what his name is. Also, make Clown Hunter the Robin for Ghostmaker, and then have them both change their names and be something else. But yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I like doing the solo show, but it was murder on my voice. End of story. That's what it killed the morning show that I used to do on this. Was just, I was talking too much, and I was going hoarse. I didn't think that was possible. Dan V900, I liked Red Hood versus Joker more than I expected. Wasn't really looking forward to it, especially with Night Fight 2 and how lazy Jason as Batman felt compared to Grayson, with you on Red Hood being a mistake. Thank you, sir. I agree with myself and you. I also liked Red Hood versus Joker. I thought it was a fun book. I also did like Night Fight, though. I didn't like do backflips over it, but I did like it. The art's fantastic. Dan Morris trying something different with that art, but also I thought it was kind of cool. I think all the Night Fight books are really strong. And Bear Farmer says, end of DCK will be Alfred's soul takes the heart of the Dark Star or whatever and gets his perfect universe. We all will buddle for Alfred. Not bad. I do theorize that Alfred will return at the end. I think that's what we're going to get. I hope so. It's maybe wishful thinking, but so yeah, those are the super chats from last time on an episode you probably will never see. So thank you so much for those patrons and super chatters for sponsoring the show and sharing your insights and thoughts. And now on to the comics. But before we do, let's take a short break. Okay, we're back. So jumping into the books. I'm not really in a position to really share my screen, so I'm just going to read them. Superman 33, Lex Luthor versus the Demon. This is, of course, written by Josh Williamson with art by Hayden Sherman. This is fun. Unexpected Lex Luthor versus the Demon Etrigan. Obviously, Josh knew enough about Etrigan to make a lot of deep cuts and references, particularly to Cosmic Odyssey, which I was like, thank you for that. That was really cool and fun. It's mainly it's a Lex Luthor book. I mean, this issue in particular is about Lex Luthor. Hayden Sherman's art was an inspired choice. I understand why. I'm glad that Josh got to work with him. Although I think Josh got to work with Hayden Sherman along with James Tynion IV and Scott Snyder on that Constantine Doctor Strange crossover. But it was nice to see them doing a whole book together because like Hayden Sherman is one of the new hotnesses and they're doing an amazing job and I love what they're doing, especially Dark Patterns, which is one of my favorite books of the year. I actually put up a thing on our posts here on this channel where I was just like, out of the 3 options available to you, which is the best book of the year? Those didn't mean that it's the best book of the year. It's just which one of those 3 is the best of the year. Someone got really incensed, and I'm like, of course they did. But I just wanted to clarify that 2 of them were Hayden Sherman books. It was Absolute Wonder Woman and Dark Patterns. This one, you know, I did miss Dan Mora and company on the art with this one because I think they would have really done a fun job, you know, with the action because it was very heavy on the action. But that being said, it was clearly just a Lex Luthor book, and it was about like watching Luthor kind of like make his schemes and manipulate Etrigan and make references to the idea that like, does Lex Luthor have a soul? And I was like, that's a fun idea, fun premise. Did people check this out? I don't know. I hope they liked it. I did too, but it wasn't my favorite thing. I didn't love it, but it was fine. You know, if you missed it, I talked about DC KO Red Hood versus the Joker #1. Of course, you know, this is actually, what was it? That was its own book from Scott Snyder and Josh Williamson and Dustin Nguyen and Giuseppe Camuncoli. Yeah, really fun fight. Interesting insights for Jason. I think that Scott Snyder has something to say about Jason Todd, and I'm really excited to see him execute that. But I also saw that like there was some, you know, Josh does a lot of heavy lifting for DC, and he's like a parent. He is a parent, but he's also like a parent for DC Comics because the best parents, I would argue, some of the best parenting is covert. You know, like this is thematically relevant. You know, we're just past the holidays. If you have deep nostalgia for the holidays, if the holidays were something really and truly special, and you find that now that you're at least somewhat of an adult, if not a full-grown adult, that they're lacking, or that means that someone parentally loved you and worked really hard to make that happen. That is Joshua Williamson at DC Comics. He is an unsung hero. He makes it happen, and he makes it seem like it happens automatically. But I think we all know, and look at you, 5G future state, that it doesn't. So thank you very much to Josh. But you could feel that in the DC KO Red Hood versus Joker, where like a lot of Scott is in Joker, but a lot of Josh is in the fight between them, you know, whether it's the Ethiopian revisit from Joker and Robin, or just Jason's mental approach to the fight and who he is and where he's from. But I think that end point where it was like, oh no, the Red Hood has always been a thing and Jason Todd invented it and he created a little guy and he had a costume ready to go. I think that's all Scott. But I don't know. And I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to say that it was interesting to see those two work together. And again, I love the kind of comic books where you have collaborators and you can't tell who wrote what, that it's just a seamless integration. Best one, of course, being Avengers No Surrender. But this is a good book too. Art's fine, worked out great. I think it supported the story and really it was very successful. Let's see here. I don't want to get kicked off again, so I'm not gonna like indulge it too long. But I did read Amazing Spider-Man #18 from Joe Kelly and art by John Romita Jr. This was rough. You know what? I don't think I would have done this. Amazing Spider-Man is always hard to get excited about, unless like Pepe Larraz is drawing it and you're like, oh boy, that's really cool. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's not doing anybody any favors. Let's say that. This whole issue seemingly is about J. Jonah Jameson giving Norman Osborn approval to be Spider-Man, which, like, who cares? Like, I I was very much against Zdarsky's story in Spectacular, where JJ knows who Peter is, and this time, unlike Civil War, he's like super excited and happy for Peter, and he's a booster for him. I get it. I was not a fan. It grew on me, and it got really interesting to the point where now it's like, because look, if JJ's not going to be editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, and the Daily Bugle isn't going to factor into Spider-Man stories, then what are you going to do with JJ? You either move Peter out or do something interesting with JJ. In this case, they chose neither, but JJ is still in Peter's corner, and they've stuck to it, which I do appreciate. I don't care about any of the new characters, whether it's Peter's old friend from childhood that's now a business owner that gives Peter a job, or it's I don't know, the lady that works for him who gives him the business. These characters are so unremarkable and so like I'm very aware that they're temporary. They're very much they're Joe Kelly's characters and no one else's. Like no one at Marvel's excited about these characters. No one's gonna use them. I can't imagine the next person who takes over Amazing Spider-Man is going to want to use those characters again. But then again, no one at Marvel or at Amazing Spider-Man has wanted to use any previously established characters over the last 25 years. So, what am I complaining about? But, the most egregious one has to be that, like, Captain America boy character that's, like, silver and has a shield. I don't know. I just genuinely couldn't care less. I don't know what's happening. The only thing that's interesting, that's of note, is that goblins are being hunted. Like, that all the goblins are being attacked. And someone must have noticed, obviously it's Joe Kelly, that, like, we got too many goblins. And I can't agree more. There are way too many goblins. And I don't know how many of them are alive and how many of them are dead. Obviously, they were like, hey, bring in Ned Leeds. He was a goblin. Yeah, fine. Hey, what about Goblin Queen? Or Queen Goblin? Queen Goblin. Ashley Kafka. I don't know if they're going to fix them or if they're going to try to kill them or if there's going to be a sequence of all these goblins in one room. I like the idea of... there's a part of me, the collector in me, that wants to see all the goblins in one space. That would be kind of fun. But it's like, at this point, it's just a drawing. Like, yeah, Phil Urich is brought in. I'm like, yes. But, like, at the end of the day, is there a story there? Or is it just a commission? Like, draw all the goblins on their own respective gliders. I mean, if they do that, I can imagine that's not even what they'd end up doing, because that's what you'd expect them to do. And, like, it doesn't get a green light unless it's subverting that expectation. But anyway, the Romita art is obviously not as strong. Like it makes like the Laraz stuff on Amazing Spider-Man feel. I mean, not just the fact that like it's on another level and it's in a different like galaxy and that it's about Peter, whereas these are about nothing. It makes it feel like they're two different titles. So like. And keeping Romita Jr. on after the Wells run was a mistake, because all it does is make people think of the Wells run. I mean, like that, at least that's what it makes me think of. Whereas before, during the Wells run, I was like, oh boy, John Romita Jr. is back. That'll be fun, because all I can think of is the JMS run. Not anymore. The writing was fine. The characterization was good, but nothing is really wowing me about this. And the art, it's not S tier. Like, it's not where it should be. And it's not where it is on, like, alternate months. Like, issue 19, which I think is coming out this week. It has that, like, promise of Hellgate and stuff. I couldn't care less about Hellgate. But Pepe Larraz is drawing it, so it's going to look cool. Pete's got that fun new suit. These are the things we're excited about now when it comes to Spider-Man. Absolute Martian Manhunter, number 7. The book came back. I'm very happy about that. Dope. It's funny because, like we did our back issues on the first 6 issues of Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I really feel like there was a great opportunity there. Like, it really worked out. You know, I wasn't planning. I didn't know when issue 7 was going to come out. So I was just like, maybe it's time for us to talk about Absolute Martian Manhunter. I've read it all. I enjoyed it all. I want to talk about it and get into it with the guys. And I did. And then it like dovetailed right into the release of issue 7, which I think people really dig. Like, I think people love this series, and I think people were excited for us to talk about it, and it allowed for a lot of, synergy, so to speak. This issue did all the things. Like, if you watch that episode of Back Issues, we're like, I don't know about, like, what are they going to do about this, and this? This issue is basically like, I saw the episode 2, here are your answers. And I was like, oh, cool. It is very much a, like, status quo shift. You know, John is kicked out. John is living on his own. Well, kind of. And we speculate. There's even a line. I think, like, John even says, like, you're not real. And I was like, oh my God, that's like what Ethan and I were talking about on the show earlier, about how, like, I don't think that there is actually a Martian in there. But, yeah, it was interesting to see that addressed. The conversation between Bridge and John was in there. They didn't forget about his son and the white Martian inside of him and all that stuff. The art's great, as usual. It also feels very much like a chapter 2, like as a second volume. You know, new status quo. Like, it feels very much like there is a very deliberate nature to this book. You know, Javier Rodriguez is giving us not just another Dynamite-looking issue, but also the way that his panel composition is and the way that his, like, depictions of the characters are. Like, it feels different or changed from the last 6, which I thought was cool. And so it worked. So, best to them. Obviously, Camp understands his character, invented him basically, and is doing some great stuff with him. And I know that, like, people are really, really excited about seeing him integrated into the universe. I mean, I would rather not, honestly. Like, as much as we addressed the super chat in the room about him meeting characters like Absolute Wonder Woman and stuff. I don't know. I kind of like him over there. I think it works better over there. But time will tell. So yeah, I guess we can. Oh, you know what I didn't talk about? The Will of Doom #1. I guess I did talk about it last week. Chip Zdarsky, Cafu. This is, if you were reading One World Under Doom and you want to know what's going on in Armageddon, you got to read that. This issue also ties in with an issue of something else that had Red Hulk in it. I don't think you need to read that. There's a lot of, I don't know, contemporary thought and discussion weaved into the narrative and the story and the plot of The Will of Doom #1. But mainly it seems to be teeing up another civil war. I don't know if I'm interested in that. I'm certainly tired of watching, like, regular people wearing military fatigues or some kind of a badge talking to superheroes who save the day every day and going like, you owe me something. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not interested. It has failed to grab me. The art's good, but that's the strongest thing I can say about it. It's not even like that exciting. It's just more like, oh, it told the story. But I'm not interested in another civil war. I'm not interested in seeing what Red Hulk is up to. I'm good. And I think, I talked ad nauseum about how Johnny's mustache needs to go, but moving on. Let's see here. I guess that's it as far as last week or 2 weeks ago is concerned. Tiff had a bunch of books, but she read them all, and I can't share with you her opinion because A, she didn't tell me, and B, she's not here. So we'll just move on, shall we? Shall us? That's right. More contemporarily, I read Marvel Zombies Red Band #4. This one is, of course, continuing the interesting theme or motif of Ultimate Zombies Red Band, the series, which is written by Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan, with art this time by Jan Basil Dua, who I think did the last 3 issues. But this series has been interesting because it's basically like, what if we did Civil War? I mean, look, if you watched our No Comic Required, where I had those guys on, we talked about it ad nauseum, you can probably check like all the insights about that. But basically the pitch is like, it's like a retelling of Marvel's origins with a zombie theme. So, you know, like when the Fantastic Four go into space before they become the Fantastic Four, instead they come back and they become the Frightful Four, and they have zombie viruses. And so it unleashes hell, and Peter is made Spider-Man out of a tragedy born from the zombie plague, as opposed to it being his own, you know, personal hubris. What's important is that like each issue kind of like highlights a different period in Marvel's history. This one, you know, they went to the Beyonders planet in the previous one, and so they're back in this one, and then they're gonna do Civil War, and I'm like, okay. And it like the premise is more about Civil War than the execution. The execution is more about the story and watching like our dwindling band of heroes try and combat the zombie horde. Interesting and well executed, but again, like the Civil War, like that one in particular is the flimsiest of all of them, in terms of which embodies like the Secret Wars one did really well. The Civil War one, it's like, yeah, like Cap and Iron Man are both zombies, and they're both of two minds about what they want to do with the Infinity Gems, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But there is some fun interplay between like there was a fun moment where like Peter reveals his identity to the group, and it mirrors the moment from Civil War when he does it to the world, and I'm like, that's fun, that's cool, I like that. Yeah. And it explores a relationship between Jen and Peter, which I've never seen in any other comic book, and so that's exciting. And yeah, it's almost over, and I'm glad because it like feels like it is the last chapter. But yeah, the idea being that like the zombie virus originates from Null, and so we're gonna do that. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Like, more power to you. I'll read it. I've read the whole series, and you know what? It's kind of fun. I kind of dig it. You know. So if you're interested, check it out. I also read Predator Kills the Marvel Universe #5 from Benjamin Percy and Marcelo Ferreira and Brent Peebles and Daniel Picciotto. Whew. What is happening? Like, what are we doing? This breakneck speed pace for this issue. And it's the last issue. But why? And that's really my question about the entire Predator versus line. You know, Benjamin Percy really wanted to do a story where the Predator, or Yautja, if you will, fought Wolverine. No question about it. Best one of the bunch. Works well, despite the Greg Land art. Appreciate it. It's awesome. Well integrated into his origins. And of course, Percy has been on record on this show to talk about the fact that, like, he wanted it to feel like it could work in continuity or it could be outside continuity, either way. Then he was tasked with doing more Yautja stories against the Marvel Universe and ended up tying them into their own, as he called it, a microverse. But a little universe set off to the side where the Predator exists and fights Marvel characters. And we got Black Panther, which was a deeply bad book. And then we have Spider-Man, which was a vexing book at best, which you could check out on back issues. And then we did this, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the idea here? You know, because clearly after Wolverine, like Black Panther and Spider-Man, those two books, also written by Ben Percy, were setting up this. Predator kills the Marvel Universe. That's what they were setting up. That's what they were building towards. Which is why Spider-Man is kind of like peters out, and why the Black Panther one exists in the first place. But if they were all building to this, why are we rushing through it? Like, there's one sequence where Predator like kills Punisher off screen and puts his shirt on, which would have been at least 3 sizes too small. There's a short about it. We talk about it. It'll drop tomorrow. But like, I don't understand why we're in such an effing hurry to get through this. We also have to introduce Predator X or Weapon Predator or whatever the hell they call him. It's a Yautja in the Weapon X suit. So, what's his deal? Nothing. Just things happen, and there's virtually no build up to them, and then we get to the next thing, and like every ending for the last 3 endings has been dun dun dun, and I'm like, but like why? And if it was all to this, then why would this end with a cliffhanger? I can't imagine. It's just baffling to me. It's also not what I would do. Like and look, you can't be a critic and say I would have done this. Like that's not criticism. You know, that's something else. That's fan fiction. But it is so far from the mark of what I think people wanted, or certainly what I expected, that it better be something equally exciting and original, and it's just something else. It will not be remembered. Like it exists and it happened, and people will go, oh yeah. Like the way that like people refer to Green Lantern Aliens or Predator Batman 3, you know, where it's like, oh no, like you're good. It's really weird. It also just kind of like just hard stops and ends on a cliffhanger. Pass. If Marvel is listening, by the way, if you still want that cover, yes. But if you are listening, prestige bound 3-issue miniseries using smaller characters. Predator vs. Punisher, Predator vs. Daredevil, and they're with top flight creators who all stay on the book the whole time. It's so simple, it like makes me cry. It also won't be like a sales juggernaut. It won't be a failure, but it won't be a huge hit. It'll just work. It'll just sell, and people will read it and buy it, and you can still get 1,000 variant covers out of it, or make blind bags, or whatever the hell the new horrible trend in comics is doing. But yeah, you know, okay. It was a shame. It really, at the end of the day, it was a shame. Like it doesn't converge. You know, there's a whole story on the moon with Sue. You feel like it feels like it could be like a Star Wars or any other story, like a Stranger Things, where like all the characters are over here and they all come back to here, and there's some kind of linchpin. None of that. Just things happen over here, here, and then we get some armors, and who gives a shit? Like it's a real disappointment. And then I guess finally, Ultimate Endgame #1, Dennis Camp, Jonas Scharf. The end is here, ladies and gentlemen. It's the end game now. We're watching the death of the Ultimate Universe again. This time via the Maker, and yeah. So there's something really interesting and fun. It's certainly validating to get the beginning of this book being the Maker killing the Eternals, and it's set in the 60s. Like it certainly lends credence to the theory, at least my theory, that it's like this was a copy of the main universe, and if you go back in time and break it, this is what you get. Like, but these are essentially the characters from the main Marvel universe, but like, you know, Control-C, Control-V, and yet you go back and change the document, now it becomes something unrecognizable. That was validating and fun, and I think that like the Maker morphing his body and head to be more, even more malevolent and monstrous was inspired. You also get like a lot of interplay between characters you would want to see, you know, like Spider-Man and Iron Lad, and that's kind of it. The Iron Lad goes to Spider-Man, brings him with them to Latveria. They plan their big attack where they team up with Doom and America. You know, we go the whole like there's a million Iron Lads and they're all different places at one time because he's broken himself into 1,000 moments in time. Yeah, it reads very much like the Ultimates, which also came out and I didn't read it. But if you are reading the Ultimates and you love it, this is more of that. If you are both people who don't like the Ultimates book, then you're not going to enjoy this. I can't say I like this. And it is not for me. That's all I could say about it without like going off the rails or being accused of being like an idiot, because like this is a book for like the Ultimates is like the second coming for some people. Like the Ultimates book by Dennis Camp is like a revelation for people. Like it is completely, it's changed lives. It's radicalized people. It's made like just comic fans. And so for that, I applaud it and I give it its flowers. And even though it's not for me, almost in any way, despite the fact that like I agree with some of its messaging and I enjoy some of the executions. Someone mentioned in the comments, Luke Cage, that was awesome. He was great. But Luke Cage is an awesome character and a fun depiction. And I love seeing Luke Cage in any form and in action, particularly when he has like righteous fury on his side. But I don't like that book. And I've been on record doing it, saying it. And I get hate and flamed all the time for it. So I try not to talk about it. It's become my Star Wars. But Ultimate Endgame is just more Ultimates. And when I say that, I don't mean like it's an extension of the Ultimates book. It is. But I say that in that everything that doesn't work for me in Ultimates doesn't work for me in this. And it is absolutely not what was sold at the onset of the Ultimate Universe. This does not read like a Hickman book. And it isn't a Hickman book. It's not trying to be a Hickman book. It is very much a Dennis Camp book. Like, you can feel, Dennis Camp is like, this is mine now, and I am doing a thing. And for some people, that's working really, really well. But, like, the abrupt nature of character deaths, while shocking and provocative, they are not earned. And they are not exciting enough. Like, there's nothing happening within the pages of this story that are exciting enough to encourage me to keep reading, particularly with the absence of characters that have experienced abrupt deaths. We are also not the most subtle people on the planet. And so the depiction, like, the telegraphing of the doom of certain characters who don't just die within the pages they are introduced is apparent. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It feels like it's something that was almost recently plotted and needs more time, context, and real estate to explore. You know, there are fun fan moments. You're like, oh, Death's Head. That's fun. But, like, does it matter? Is it relevant? What are we doing with him? And in that case, like, Death's Head being the leader of the Death's Locks, I'm like, okay, I like that. I will not argue with you. The mystery of the, like, Mad Jim Jaspers looking Immortus. I don't know. Okay. I mean, like, you know, is it Howard Stark? Is it not? I don't know. I'm not invested enough to care. The, like, last page reveal of, like, the Maker's place in this world is, again, like, not provocative enough to excite me. It's also kind of odd. Like, it's interesting because he makes himself, like, Maker becomes a tree that becomes the world, which is so Krakoa. And it's interesting to see, like, what many people who are reading the Ultimates line are satisfied with saying is Hickman's successor, is taking a Hickman idea of, like, a living... I mean, look, Hickman didn't have the idea of Krakoa. Krakoa is the island that walked like a man. We know about that. But I'm saying, like, the visual of, like, a tree man who is the place they live, is Krakoa, whether you like it or not. And here he is again. But in this universe, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I just... And there's a lot of ideas happening all at once. And again, because we don't have time to really, like, live in them or explore them, it doesn't really, like, hit the way it should. I don't know. I'm just like, this ain't for me. And while Ultimate Spider-Man Incursions was just frankly a bad comic book. Like, it was a bad book and was ignored by pretty much everyone who works on these books. This feels like that in terms of tone, and obviously one of the artists on this drew that, so you could feel the connectivity, but it just doesn't, like, it's certainly more fleshed out. This issue is more fleshed out, but it's, I don't know. It ain't for me. You know, I am not here for this. It feels crowded and hurried. It just doesn't work. But that's my opinion. It's certainly, I don't know. I think if you were hyped to watch the end of the Ultimate Universe in this form, or if you were a huge fan of what's happening in Ultimates, that, like, I don't know. I'd be surprised if you weren't a little disappointed by the execution of this issue. But who knows? Maybe if you're like a big, you know, Ultimates fan, this might dovetail perfectly into it. Like, it works perfectly, and here's why, and here's all the points that I make. I get you. Like, and whether, like, Immortus is Howard or Tony or Mad Jim Jaspers or whoever, that's not relevant to what I'm saying. It's just more like, that's a mystery that is cosmetic as part of the window dressing that is what this story is. Okay, you know, but never mind. So that's Ultimate Endgame #1. As far as what the... Oh, yeah, that's right. And I said I'd talk about the other one, the Absolute Wonder Woman 15. Absolute Wonder Woman 15, Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman. It's the first time any major players in the Absolute Universe are teaming up. And in Absolute Batman, we're going to get Wonder Woman teaming up in her book. And that's going to be cool. And very much in the Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool spirit, they're going to be completely divorced and its own story. They're not related. They're not the same story told from different perspectives. Two completely different independent interactions between those two characters. This, first of all, the art was fantastic. Hayden Sherman playing with panel composition, particularly towards the end. There's, you know, at this point, you're conditioned after this year, especially the last couple of years, to expect Hayden Sherman to play with, like, panel composition and, like, making these, especially Wonder Woman, to see these, like, beautiful tapestries throughout that are also, you know, meant to guide your eye and follow story. But blink and you'll miss it. The Superman logo shape in the sequence where they're talking about how they need to find Superman, it's a nice touch. This story is fun. It's, you know, the idea being that, like, you know, Wonder Woman's like, I need you to help me find these guys. They figure out that, like, in true team-up fashion, true world's finest fashion, if you will, someone, like, you know, the Batman villain and the Wonder Woman villain are teaming up to take down both of them. One is more hero-forward than the other because of whose book we're in. So, you know, it's much more like magic, cult, golem concept forward because of Wonder Woman's book. It was cool. It was just a fun... It felt like a crossover or a team-up. It reminded me of, like, the old World's Finest comics that I've read in, like, my old Batman from the 30s to the 70s book. Like, it feels modern, yet manages to be a throwback to, like, a simpler time in comics, but without it feeling kitschy or hacky. Just really works. And this issue in particular worked. But the thing that I really... like, the story who cares? But at the end of the day, like, it is actually, like, it's easy to follow, it's fun, but also has a little element of mystery, but not too much where it, like, it eats its own tail. But the concept of, like, Diana possibly being a golem because the nature of what golems are is fun, but I love the interplay between the two characters. And you've seen, like, a million different iterations of Batman and Wonder Woman meeting or being introduced to each other. Like, I'm sure that Kelly Thompson is aware of, like, that one panel. I can't even remember what version of Wonder Woman it's from, but where Wonder Woman uses the lasso of truth on Batman and Superman, and they say their real names, and Batman says Batman. That's a really, like, funny moment that has been just buried by internet memeing. But that sequence is subverted by this, in that Batman is so distinctly, like, Thompson manages to capture Scott's voice for absolute Bruce Wayne and pit them together in a way that is authentic for both characters, but also doesn't feel rehashed or doesn't feel like it's, you know, poking fun at anything or trying to, like, dig at what is happening in the other universe. You know, like, there is a Wonder Woman book in continuity right now where you saw Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman interact, and it's weird and it's uncomfortable and it's not really that valid. Like, it doesn't feel like it would be authentically them. Like, and yet you get this and you're like, oh, look at them working together, and look at how, like, Bruce Wayne is a lot more well adjusted. And it's funny because, like, there was an Ironwork, I think, in Iron Studios, I don't remember what, one of the statue companies made an absolute Batman, and I saw Scott go, like, face is wrong. He needs to be younger. Like, Bruce needs to almost have, like, a baby face, and I understand what his methodology is there. Like, Bruce is young. Bruce needs to be portrayed as young. Like, we need to know that he's, like, naive and young, and that he, like, still has a mom and he still has friends, or at least he did. And that's going to make you more open and more susceptible to, you know, other people's points of view. And I'm like, that's cool. And look at them go. And of course, Wonder Woman was always going to be magnanimous and, you know, kind and charitable and interested in talking to Bruce and getting to know him. But it was interesting to see Bruce do that too. The moment where the two of them are talking and, like, she's like, do I have to keep calling, like, or he's like, do you know my real name? And she's like, I do, but, you know, it's not mine to take. You have to give it to me. And he's like, you can say it. And it's just this, like, this moment where, like, they've been through battle together. They trust each other enough that they're friends now. And I'm like, what? And yet also no sexual chemistry or tension. It doesn't become like, oh, like in the cartoon, like Wonder Bats. No, it's just watching these people become friends in a, like, genuine and authentic way that I would never have seen coming, and could only count on from Kelly Thompson. Had I known, because, I mean, I've read some of Kelly Thompson's work, but not enough, and she clearly, you know, didn't get the same leeway on those than she does on Wonder Woman. So I wish I'd known when she was, like, writing some of the Spider-Man stuff, because I would have been much more in her corner back then. But yeah, I really enjoyed this issue. I know it's from 2 weeks ago, but it was a great issue. It's really fun. Glad I own a copy. Really great to see those characters. And Hayden Sherman does a good absolute Batman. You know, like, it's a very different design, even though it's basically Batman. But it's also not, you know, weird. It felt very authentic. It felt very, like, in keeping with the world. And I think it's interesting because, like, it also works. You'd want to see Superman and Batman meet for the first time. That's, like, kind of the obvious thing. Not these guys. Like, not that they wouldn't work or be friends, but Superman's going through some shit. And it wouldn't nearly be as interesting as this. And now it can be, because we've already had this, and we've seen it go really well. Let's see something else. But it's a great issue overall, and I'm a fan. So yeah, as far as what the book of the week is, I mean, It's tough to say, but there were a lot of great samplings this week and last week, or rather last week. But yeah, as far as it goes, I mean, obviously, we're going to give it to Absolute Wonder Woman number 15, but there were some really good contenders here, Martian Manhunter's back. The Red Hood versus Joker was good. In the last episode, I talked about Spider-Man 94, but I'm not going to here, but I enjoyed reading it. That was a fun one. Trinity Daughter Wonder Woman, again, I talked about that. And as much as I'm sure you'd like to know what I thought, it was good. I liked it. But not as much as I like the others. Like the other things that I mentioned, I prefer. Particularly that I enjoyed and I thought were strong samplings, good comics overall. Although everything is, doing a fine job. So, yeah, Absolute Wonder Woman 15 is my book of the week, even though it's, 2 weeks old. So jumping into this week and the books that are coming out and what I can recommend, I'm going to try and speak on behalf of Tiffany, but we're going to get into some of these. Obviously, Absolute Superman number 15 is coming out. It's a brand new status quo, so that means I need to go back and read probably, 9 or 10 issues of Absolute Superman. But this one with Jason Aaron and Juan Ferreira, the original team from the last run on Ninja Turtles, are here again to do some Superman, so that'll be fun. Batman 5, I don't know anything that's happening. I gotta read this, see what's going on. Ultimate Wolverine number 13, here we go. Let's see what's going on. Obviously, Tiffany would recommend Ultimate X-Men 23. Absolute Batman Arc M Special number 1 from Scott and company. We're gonna see how that goes. This one's gonna be Frank Thierry and Scott Snyder with art by Josh Hickson. So I'm interested to see where that's going. DCKO Night Fight 3 is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Amazing Spider-Man 19, again, I mentioned it when we were talking about Spider-Man, but I do love this art and I do not give a flying F about freaking Hellgate, and neither will anyone else until the heat death of the universe. Again, I forgot this book existed. Batman, Green Arrow, The Question, Arcadia. But number 2 is dropping. I got to read that. Tiffany would have given me a hard time about not catching up on it, even though there's only one issue out right now. But that's why we're doing this right now. Tiffany may check out Nova Centuria number 3. We'll see. I don't know. Ninja Turtles Shredder number 4 is out. It's a fun series. If you like this kind of thing, check it out. Godzilla number 6 from the Kaisei universe. Ninja Turtles Godzilla number 2 is also coming out. And hey, 50th anniversary treasure edition of Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man facsimile edition number 1 is coming out. This thing, I've seen it online. It's beautiful looking. So check this out. Jerry Conway and Ross Andrew. You should read this. If you've never read it, do so, because it's a really fun book that started it all, and see how they made it work together. Let's see here. I gotta remind Tiffany that FML exists. If you loved Spider-Boy when they did that facsimile edition, there is another Spider-Boy book. This one's Marvel DC Spider-Boy Team Up Facsimile Edition number 1. This is where Spider-Boy meets the Legion 2099. That's a great merging. It's such a brilliant idea. Not a huge fan of Spider-Boy, but I'm glad it exists, and check it out. I also caught up all on Star Trek Voyager. So I read the last 3 issues. Number 4 is out. If you loved Voyager, like the 3 of you out there do, then you will love this book. It reads like an episode of Voyager. It also promises to be a sequel to the Voyager series. It takes place right after the last episode, right when the last episode ends. The next moment of this book picks up. I think it's authentic and fun and works. Though I do love the Last Starship as well. And that should bring us to our sponsors for today's episode, which of course are you out there, the sponsors who generously shared super chats for today's episode. So let's jump into those and answer your questions and then talk more about comic books, shall we? Arduit drops in to say, can't join live. Here's some funding for the roof and a slight bribe for potential Resurrection Man on back issues. Thank you very much. I can't fix the roof. They will not let me, nor would I be qualified. They need to replace the roof, and they're not going to. So I do appreciate it. It will go towards the infrastructure because equipment was damaged. I actually just bought new shelves for back issues. That's right. The leak is right over the back issue set. So yeah. Tea Time 480. Sal, are you going to mention that Terminator Volume 1 comes out this week? Thank you so much for reminding me. That is the only thing that I actually downloaded for this episode to present. Yeah. Terminator Out of Time, Volume 1 is out on Wednesday. I didn't know that this was a thing, but I saw on social media that this is coming out. Now, if you're not familiar, why the hell is Sal shilling for Terminator? You may notice a name next to Declan Shalvey, and it's mine. That's because I wrote a backup to the first 5 issues of the Terminator. Now, the backup was a 10-page story. So it's a full story in 10 pages, and they split them up about 2 pages at a time per issue. So every issue you picked up for the first 5 issues was the next 2 issues, or the next 2 pages of my story. So this is all collected for the first time ever in one place. So if you pick up this volume, you'll get all 10 pages in a row, so you can read them as they were kind of intended to be. I hope they read well. I actually ended up downloading the pages themselves and putting them in order and looking at them as a PDF because I never had a chance to actually look at them at one time. And I think they read okay, but obviously, it's a first published work of mine. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. Hopefully not the last, but at the very least, it was incredibly kind and generous of the people at Dynamite for giving me this opportunity, for letting me not just do a backup in a published book, but also a story in one of my favorite IPs and universes of all time. I am eternally grateful to Dynamite, Nick Barucci and company for giving me the opportunity to do that. I'm so excited for you guys, if you are of a mind, if you care, to get a chance to check this out, because the books were on the shelves. It's tough, it's single issues on the shelf. Who knows how many people or how many comic shops actually order the book. I heard there were a lot of books or a lot of shops out there that don't have or didn't order that book or didn't have enough copies. So I'm happy to see that it's there available now, so you can check it out. I hope that you do. Yeah, check it out if you are of a mind. It's Terminator Out of Time, which is aptly named. But yeah, it's coming out on Wednesday, I believe. So, yeah, let's jump into some more super chats, shall we? Andre Brown, sorry. Can't wait for Superman, Spider-Man. Can't believe the variants go all the way A to Z. It's going to sell really well. I hope so. More importantly, I hope that both of them sell well, because people didn't know that Deadpool Batman and Batman Deadpool are 2 different books. On one hand, how could you have missed it? On the other, though, DC and Marvel never did that. Or if they did, they came out way far away from each other. And they weren't anthologies. They needed to do a better job of selling it and promoting it. This time around, tell people there are going to be 2 of them. Superman, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Superman. What we all know right now is who's doing Superman, Spider-Man, and all the stories in it. That's out. We know that. We do not know anything about Marvels. So please tell people. because I want it to sell and I want to get more. Maybe more like they should be, where they're a full goddamn issue. But yes, I hope it sells well. Dadmom057, hey, their Patreon is pretty swell, and this week's back issue is available early like always. Thank you, man. Yes, it is. I try to make it like it's the biggest perk we can give right now. I am behind on editing. I'm also, Tiffany was so incredibly generous and got me a computer for Christmas. This will allow me to not only play Helldivers better, but also to edit properly. Right now I'm editing on a very old version of Premiere. It's a legitimate version, but I had to downgrade because the hardware just didn't keep up. So I'm behind on editing. What I like to try and do is get at least a couple episodes edited, and then they can just go out immediately. Like the day that we drop back issues, I like to throw another episode of back issues, the next one, up on Patreon. But sometimes, because it's just me, I got to edit it, and that's tough. So this time around, I have a rig. I will have a rig. Right now, we're using my old rig, but we're going to set up the new one. It's all done. It's all set up. It's all ready to go. As far as components and building are concerned, I just got to plug it the hell in and go. But that was all to say that I'm not. If you join Patreon and next week you go, where the hell's the next episode? I'm behind. So please know that it's not because I'm trying to fleece you. I will try to give you something else ahead of time. Kofny, or KoFNY, says, hey, Sal, wishing you, Tiff, and the rest of the crew a very happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, too. Made it to top 0.1% watcher for 2025. Here's to fantastic 2026. Thank you, man. I knew it would be. I knew you'd be there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Tyler DeBoer, 7601, says, with DCKO boss fight a month out, what non-Big Two characters would you have added? I think Cassandra Hack from Hack and Slash would have been a fun addition. Yeah, that's a great idea. I would have put Spawn in there. I would have put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in there. I would have put one Marvel character in there. Would have been fun. MNM says, happy 2026. Are you planning on watching Wonder Man? I honestly think that if they want to try a complete new take on a character, it might as well be someone like Simon, whose fan base is not very big. Agreed. I don't like Wonder Man. I'm sure that I'll like this version more, but I don't care. Like, the MCU has done a really good job of making me just completely disconnect from it. I don't think that the Doomsday teasers are particularly inspired or good. I don't think that the direction is exciting. I don't want to see more Fox characters. Like, I'm ready to have like a cohesive original MCU universe. This is not it. More importantly, I don't care about Hollywood. Like, Hollywood has completely burned me out on inside references. Like, isn't it crazy that we make movies? Isn't this a fun universe? No, I don't care about you. I don't care about Hollywood. Hollywood, why don't you make a movie or a show? You know, about like what it's like to live in Osnark or something, or Oxnard. I don't care about like how crazy the writing process is. I'm not interested in seeing the backlots. You know, like I pretty much burned out on Hollywood after Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Outside of that, I'm not interested in any more like meta stories about Hollywood. And I know it's saving you money because you don't have to go anywhere, but like, for God's sake, it's enough. Unpheasant 11, Kitty Pryde, and Wolverine 2026? No. But I admire your enthusiasm. Don Weasel Yeehaw Edition. Hey, Sal, I was wondering if you've read the 90s Black Lightning run, Brick City Blues. It was excellent, in my opinion. Easily the best Black Lightning run I've read so far. No, I've never read Black Lightning outside of the other history of the DC Universe, so I'll have to check it out. But I have not. Sorry. I wish I could give you more. Typical Spider. Hey, Sal, I'm very happy to have Off the Rack on the unfortunate day I have to go back to work. I have to know, did you finally watch Elf this season? No, I didn't. There was no time. There was no time for anything. I barely watched, like, I watched a handful of Christmas specials. A couple of them the ones at the absolute tippy top of the list, but I did not catch Elf. It was on during my parents' Christmas Day party, but I had to have dinner with them and stuff. I couldn't watch the movie, but no, I did not see Elf. Maybe next year. TBG Hydration says, having a Ollie's nearby is hell. As I just spent $300 on 10 Omnis, I dread the day a half-price books opens near me. Disposable income, what's that? It's true, man. I'm sorry. Man, $300 on 10 Omnis. That's... Yeah, I mean, that's how it happens that way, doesn't it? It do be that way. You'll have to let us know what Omnis you got. On Typical Spider Returns, I've begun reading Assorted Crisis Events, and wow, I'd be interested to see what back issues on this would be like. Clickbait the Crisis title. I don't think anyone's going to watch that, I'm sorry. I certainly don't want to read it. But I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I genuinely am, because camp is selling books, and that's the most important thing. M&M returns to say, regarding Johnny's mustache, I think that you'll hate it a lot less if you read the issues of Fantastic Four from 3 years ago, where he decides to grow it. Nah. TBG Hydration says, on a downer note, apparently Lunar has nixed my local comic shop's new midnight releases for DC at least. Despite that, those made me more excited for books. Thoughts? I mean, that sucks, and I agree with you that is balls. I also appreciate that they do that. I love local comic shop midnight releases. I went to both of them for Deadpool and Batman and Batman Deadpool. I wish that, and I did that for Dark Knight's Metal as well, and it was really cool that they did that, and it was nice to see like how many people came and all the camaraderie and enthusiasm. I wish that there was an opportunity, like Zap Comics in Wayne, New Jersey is where I went both times to do that, and I have no doubt they'll do it again for Superman, Spider-Man. But I wish that there was an opportunity for like more, like when they do Free Comic Book Day, like they have a table outside, and they have like a raffle going on and all this stuff. And I think they did a raffle actually last time I was there. So they still do the raffle. But like, it's midnight. I'm old. I'm tired. Like, I could use a chair, like, or a gathering place where people can just hang out and talk. Because the way it works is they just go in a line. Like, they go in a line, they shop, but also get to the register and leave. And I'm like, you need to have more celebration, more like a party. That being said, I'm sure they're tired too. And it's a lot of work to throw a party for people who didn't plan on there being a party. Hulkzilla0 says, hope everything's doing well, or everyone's doing well. Thanks for helping to start the year just right. Here's to an exciting 2026, and I wish the best to everyone in this community. Happy belated New Year's. Happy belated New Year's to you too, Hulkzilla. Thank you so much for being here as always. We do appreciate you, and thank you for generosity, man. Yeah, it wouldn't be 2026 without you, buddy. And now let's take a quick break. Okay, we're back. Peach says, I just wanted to thank you for the profound impact you've had on my life. I started watching when I was 11. Now I'm 22, and I am the comics manager at my local comic shop. That's incredible, Peach. I know you. I know that name. I appreciate you, man, and thank you so much for being with us and for the kindness that you shared with us. You did that all on your own, man. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to know. I really, really appreciate you sharing that with me. And, man, that's awesome. That's so great. 10 years or 11 years. Doesn't feel like it. Sometimes it feels like it, like when I think about like what I've been doing, but when I'm doing it, it feels like, well, time for another one. Like, oh boy. I can imagine some people are probably more tired of it than I am. But thank you, man. Yeah. So let's see. So to review, Terminator Out of Time comes out on Wednesday. Check it out. There's a hardcover and a trade paperback, apparently both coming out at the same time. I don't care which one you get, but when you get it, if you get it, post it on social. If you have social and you post on social. If you never post on social, you do not have to worry about it. But if you do post habitually on social, tag me and I will retweet you, or at the very least, I will respond. But please, if you do get this on Wednesday, share it because and tell more people, because I did a thing. Like I did this thing and I tried it, and it was also a very interesting story. One day I'll tell it about like how that came to be, not how I got the job, but more how that story in particular came to be, because I have a lot more. But yeah. And I'm actually working on a pitch right now that I have to talk to somebody about. Completely unrelated, but I'm very excited about that. But yeah, that's happening. Oh, quick shout out, big thanks, or big congratulations to our pal over Cape Joel. Joel is trying a new initiative over on his channel, and I wish him nothing but the absolute best. I hope that it works out. I have no doubt that if he, that he will succeed. And I'm looking forward to watching his career with great interest. So big congrats to Cape Joel. If you haven't already seen it, he made a little announcement video where he was like, I'm doing some new things. I'm trying some new stuff out. We wish him the absolute best. Good luck to him. So he's going to have a new episode on Wednesday and Friday. So I guess check those out if you are of a mind or already subscribing. That's right. Joel and I are still friends. We still talk. We may not do the show anymore, but we are pals. So yeah, check that out. If you have just started watching, or if you have been watching, make sure to give this video a like. It does help us out in some way. I don't know how, but subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications so you know when we go live, which is typically on Monday nights around 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I start a little earlier because it's just me, but join us on the regular. Hey, tomorrow, new show, dropping an episode, dropping a big steaming episode. Typical Spider, good luck with all the endeavors, Sal, and here's to the entire comic community in 2026. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you as well. Dropping a huge episode. Tom King returns to talk to me about Supergirl Woman tomorrow, and that time that he put on the official Green Lantern ring. So if you haven't already gotten hyped, make sure to check that out. It's going to drop probably tomorrow around like noon Eastern Standard Time. So check that out. Big old conversation with Tom King happening tomorrow on youtube.com/ComicPop Returns. And then there's more. I am working out some new podcasts, new episodes of No Comic Required, and of course, Tiffany and I have the big 2025, recap that's happening this week sometime, and more. I have so much more. I actually shouldn't talk about this, but I actually did outsource a video. I sent some footage to a fine editor who did an amazing job, and I need to provide more information. But that's going to come out when it's done. But he's done. I'm not with what I need to do. But like more stuff coming out in 2026, more variety. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that and watch us grow and change and evolve as 2026 roars forward. This is not the way it's going to go. Like we got a studio. I've got an amazing co-host. I've got lots of stuff going on. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. And I want you all to know that I appreciate you. I thank you so much for coming to the live shows, or for coming in the comments, or for just watching the shows and enjoying them on your own, and not in any way making it a back and forth. However you choose to enjoy what we make here, I thank you for it, and I appreciate you. We, all of us at ComicPop, appreciate you, and we thank you for your generosity, your kindness, for sharing your stories, whether they're in comments, whether they're in the chat, whether they're in super chats, or whether they're just and you're enjoying the show and being like, I like you guys, but I'll never tell you. Fine by me. That if that's how you choose to celebrate, I endorse it. So thank you all so much for being here, and thank you all so much for a successful and happy 2025, and I look forward to seeing you in 2026, or rather, enjoying you here in 2026. We're here. It's not even like it's going to happen. It's already happening. So thank you all for indulging me, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode Off the Rack. I'm Sal, and that's it. So long.